Hi, this is the Marshall AS50D, which is a 50-watt acoustic amplifier, part of the Marshall acoustic range. What we're going to do, we're going to check out the front panel features of this amp, followed by some of the sounds. We're going to take a look at the built-in effects within the amp, and then towards the end of the demo, we're going to have a look at the rear panel here. So starting, having a look at the front panel going left to right. Firstly, you've got channel 1. This is a 2-channel acoustic amp. On channel 1, you've got volume, bass and treble, and that's where I'm plugged into at the moment. The next to that, you've got channel 2, which in essence is the same kind of thing, but you've got some different features on there. Firstly, you've got an auxiliary input, so you can run an MP3 or CD player into the amp as well. Then you've got a microphone XLR input just here, your regular input for your guitar, and then you've got pretty much what you've got on channel 1, which is volume, bass and treble. After that, you've got your built-in effects section, starting with the chorus. Firstly, you've got the selection for having the chorus either on channel 1 or channel 2 with these buttons just here. Then you've got the speed and depth of the chorus itself. Then next to here, you've got a balance control for the reverb. So you can balance the reverb between the two channels, channel 1 and channel 2. Next to that, you've got the reverb control itself, which we'll look at in a little more detail in a little while. Then you've got your anti-feedback section at the end. If you're getting some unwanted feedback and resonance from your acoustic when you're plugged into this amp, you can control it from here. You've got a frequency sweep to find the right frequency that's making all the feedback. You've also got a phase switch to reverse the phase of the signal. That sometimes helps getting rid of feedback. And underneath, you've got a button for the notch to change where the frequency is sweeping. You can sort of notch that to a different level. So you should be able to find a place to get rid of all that unwanted feedback. At the end there, you've got your master volume followed by your power switch. So what we're going to do, we're going to get some sounds going. As I said, I'm plugged into to channel 1 just here, and with everything set, I've set the volume at just over 1/3. I've got the bass on just over 1/2, and the treble on about 2/3. You get this kind of sound. Just to let you know, for reference, the EQ on my acoustic here, I've set everything flat. So that's the main sound that you get from this channel. What I'll do quickly now is put it into channel 2 here, and we should get a similar sound. Alright, so that gives you an idea of the sounds that you can get from this amp. What I'm going to do is I'm going to plug back into channel 1 here. The idea obviously behind having 2 channels on an acoustic amp like this is so if you wanted to plug your guitar into channel 1 and you wanted to run some backing tracks into channel 2 along with perhaps a microphone, if you're doing some singing, then you don't need a PA. You can do everything all with this amp, so it makes it incredibly versatile. Moving on to the effects section now. I'm back in channel 1. So what I'm going to do for the chorus, I've set the speed and the depth at about 12 o'clock, about halfway for each. I'm just going to engage this button here, which says channel 1 next to it. So that will now send the chorus to channel 1. And so that will change the sound that we had earlier to this kind of thing. Now, if you wanted to change the amount of chorus that you have on there, you could slow it down to make it a little bit more subtle by bringing the speed and the depth down, and that would give you this kind of thing. Or if you wanted a lot more of that chorus, if you wanted to make it really kind of dynamic, turn each one up to about 3/4 and you get this kind of thing. Obviously with any chorus, if it's a bit too much, then wind it back. So somewhere that I'd personally use it would be, as we first had it, on about halfway of each. But that's not to say that you can always experiment with the speed and the depth individually. Alright, so what we're going to look at now is, I'm just going to take that chorus off, and we're going to move on to the reverb. Now the effects within this amp, the chorus and the reverb within this amp are digital, and the reverb here is a great reproduction of somewhere like a mix of a plate and maybe a hall type reverb, you know? So bringing the reverb on to about 1/3, you get this kind of thing. Alright, and bringing the reverb all the way up to the top, the other extreme, you get this kind of thing. So you can hear there's a lot of reverb in there. And as I said earlier, there's also this balance control that you've got. So if you wanted to balance the amount of reverb between the two channels, if you're running a mic in as well or something like that, you want the reverb on and you wanted it sort of a bit more on your guitar than you do in the mics, and you can control it all from the balance here. If you bring the balance all the way round to the left, all the reverb's on channel 1, the more you mix it round to the right, the more starts to bleed round to channel 2, and all the way round to that extreme there is just the reverb on channel 2. Right, so that's pretty much it. The only thing you haven't heard is with both the reverb and the chorus on at the same time, so I'll just quickly give that a blast for you. So that's it, that's the Marshall AS50D. What we're going to do now is we're going to check out the rear panel of this amp. On the rear panel of the AS50, firstly you've got your mains input followed by your foot switch input and your line out. You have a DI out with an XLR socket. Then you've got your effects loop, send and return. For more information on this amp and others in the Marshall acoustic range, please visit your local Marshall dealer.